Okay, so basically we have a neshama, and the neshama takes an oath when it's in Shemayim that it's going to be a tzaddik and it's not going to be a rasha. Now, when the neshama takes this oath, hi, welcome. Where is the neshama when it's taking this oath? It's basking in the glory of Hashem Shekhinah. It has absolutely no idea what it's getting itself into. And then it comes down here, and it's like, oh my goodness, it feels so stuck. And why a tiny baby I has to cry to get food, and the nefesh hachiyunis, the part of us that makes sure that whose job is to make sure that we're alive and that we're taken care of, that part of the body has no that soul has no problem getting being able to express itself. The baby's hungry, it just screams and it's going to get its food. The neshama has much more of a difficult of a challenge. How is this neshama, who's an actual part of God, going to able to express itself? It's as a baby. Well, as a baby, it can't. So can you imagine the frustration of the neshama? And the only way that the neshama is going to be able to express itself is through garments, is through clothing. And we said that it's thought, speech, and action. So we're going to finish speaking about the first one, thought, and then we're going to go into we're going to talk about thought, and we're going to talk about speech and action more in depth. Okay, so the neshama wants to express itself, and it wants to use the clothing of the garment of thought. Now, thought is something that's the most inner garment. It's constantly working. It's not something that you could put on a shelf, that you could, you're constantly thinking, and it's such a close garment to you. It's like your skin. When you wake up in the morning, you don't say, okay, which skin am I going to put on today? Your skin is your skin. It's one with you. So our thoughts are so part of us. It's our most inner garment. And through these garments, that is the only way that this high neshama, this beautiful piece of God, is able to express itself. So we titled the class The Orchard. And that is because the neshama that wants to use this garment of thought in order to express itself. So it's a neshama. It's not. It's a neshama. It's going to be anything it's going to be when you're thinking about Hashem, and when you're learning about Hashem, and when you're learning Torah. When I'm thinking about or learning about science, math, history, that I'm not using the levush for the neshama to express itself. I'm using thought to express my neshama when I'm learning Torah and when I'm learning about Hashem. And there are 4 ways to learn Torah. So in a way, we're like really digressing, to talk about the 4 ways of learning Torah. But on the other hand, it's so important to understand it, because there are 4 different ways for the neshama to learn Torah, and in that way to express itself with this garment of thought. And it is called a pardes. It is called an orchard. And when you think of an orchard, you think of a beautiful environment, and the birds chirping, and the fragrance coming from the fruit. It's so beautiful. And the reason why this touched me so much, this pshat, remez, drush, and stoid, and we're going to discuss what they are, is because on Monday when we had the class, there was a lot of backlash, so to speak, that comes Hasidus, and it's not really for everyone, and everyone has their own derech. And here I'm sitting at the class, that's wonderful, but what do you want? My husband, he has a different derech, and he's not gonna, if I come home and say this to him, he's gonna think that I'm coming from a different planet. So it's important for us to understand that there truly are 4 ways to learn Torah, and take your derech and through your derech, learn Torah in all 4 in all four parts of the pardes. Enjoy the entire orchard. I can say, okay, just half of the orchard, or just three-quarters of welcome, just three-quarters of the orchard. It's the whole thing, as we keep saying. It's Torah Tzivanu Moshe Rasha Kilas Yaakov. The entire Torah is an inheritance for every Jew. So kind of, you kind of feel bad when a person says, I have my derech, Hasidus is not my derech, and therefore, I have to keep myself away from it. But rather, the neshama wants to express itself. It wants to fully express itself, not just partially express itself. So by saying, I'm only going to learn pshat, I'm only going to learn remez, and hold back from drush and side, or hold back from side, you're stifling your neshama. You're not allowing the neshama to the full expression. So yes, we have our derech, but pardes of Torah, that is for everyone. So why limit ourselves? So, okay. So we have pshat, remez, drush, and said, and I'm going to give a few different examples, and we're going to go through all these four parts until we understand the difference between them. So we'll take a secular example first. I'm not right. There was a very big artist, a great painter. His name was Van Gogh, I think, and he made the picture called the Starry Night. I actually Googled it. You could Google it when you get home. And the pshat of the picture is you just see a starry night. You see a village. You see a big black tree and a village in the back, like a little bit more further in, and you see these stars in a very interesting way of the technique of the strokes of this painting. The truth is, I made one title for the class, and then in the middle of the night, I woke up and I switched it. So the original title was the secret strokes, but then I changed it to the orchard because I thought that was more. Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking of that. But the orchard, I thought it was more encompassing. So anyway, so when you look at it, pshat, what do you see? You see a starry night. Pshat. Remez is, what is this alluding to? What is it alluding to? So now when you have stars and a dark night, and then you have, so you have the contrast of night and dark and light and brightness, so, good, evil. So as soon as I say, what is this, as soon as I take it to the next level and I say, what is this a reference to? That's already remez. And actually, if you count the stars, you'll see that there's 12 stars. So it could be a remez to Yosef. There's also a moon. There's a moon and 12 stars, and he was religious. He wasn't Jewish. There's a church in the picture, but he was very religious, and he was alluding to a remez. He was hinting to Yosef and the brothers by specifically having 12 stars. And if you go even more, he was actually a political prisoner. He ran away. He got asylum in a different country. So he got asylum in a different country because he was a political prisoner from a different country. So he kind of felt like Yosef. So the more you go in depth, the more research that you do, the more depth you get. So that was pshat, and that was remez. Remez is, what does this allude to Yosef and the stars, and then drush is when I start applying it to myself. What kind of drush is? Drush is really research and interpretation. Okay, so maybe I should go with my notes. Okay, so if I go back, what?
No, drush is like Bina. Because Bina is also research.
Right, we said that Bina is research. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So let me just take one step back because I jumped ahead of myself. Okay, pshat is pshat, the simple explanation. Remez comes from the Hebrew word ramzor. Anyone know what a ramzor is?
Yeah.
A traffic light. Okay, whoever thought of a traffic light decided that red is going to be danger, stop, and green is going to be go, right? So it's a hint. That means when you see red, nowhere does it say, it's hinting the red maybe because red reminds you of blood, maybe reminds you of fire, maybe reminds you of danger. So when you see red, it's hinting to you, do not walk. It's not, sometimes it says do not walk, but don't walk. But so it's hinting to the Ramzor is a remez. It's a hint, it's hinting to you, do not walk, red to tell it's not clear cut, it's not clearly spelling it out, but it's hinting to you, don't walk. That's a remez. So there's nothing. Red is associated with danger. It's associated with blood. Therefore, okay, we're using it for the traffic light.
That's why it's called the Ramzor.
That's why it's called the Ramzor. Yeah. Okay. So now let's see. Let's define exactly what is drush. Okay. So drush is when you start investigating into the background, when you do more research. He was in an asylum. He felt like Yosef. Okay. So what is drush? So I'll give you another very good example to explain drush. Okay, so for remez, we'll have in mind the ramzor. The ramzor is a hint. It's hinting to you to stop. For drush, we can give a different example. There was a commercial many years ago of a room, and there are two people, and they're putting down carpet from wall to wall. And then they're almost done the job, and all of a sudden, one of the workers sees that there's a bump under the carpet. The carpet is not laying flat. So he feels really, really bad. He worked so hard to put this carpet down. Now there's a problem that there's a bump. So he reaches out he wants to reach for a cigarette. And he realizes, what? Go ahead.
There's a clip of it.
Oh, there was? Okay.
Someone was missing her pet.
Yes. So he thinks that maybe what happened, my box of cigarettes fell out of my pocket, and that's what's making the bump in the carpet. So what does he do? He takes a hammer and he pounds it down until there's no more bump, and that's it. Then 5 minutes later, the little kid comes in and he says, did anyone see my hamster? So what happens is, drush, you see a bump, you see something you're learning, and you're stuck. You can't understand it. So one thing is, okay, let's just bang it down, like, pound it, get out of my way. I'm not thinking about it right now, whatever. Then drush is when you pick up the carpet and you see what's underneath. Investigate. Pick up, there's another layer here. Don't just take the picture. Oh, starry night, beautiful picture. Investigate. Do the research, look beneath the carpet and find another layer. That's drush. Oh, and the what is it? Oh no, it was just a commercial. So the commercial is what is it? What is it?
What was that ad?
It was ad. This is what it says: smoking kills. Okay, I didn't see it, but that was a description. Okay, so it means to look for a deeper meaning. When something is not smooth, you have two choices. You could either bash it down or you could look underneath. So that is drush. And when we say, oh, medrash, we think medrash is like those, stories that are very, very like hard to believe stories. But the little medrash says that's not the full medrash. They just took out some stories that are easy to understand, and you think, oh, that's the medrash. The medrash is way more. Look at the medrash inside, black and white in text, the real medrash, not just a couple of stories that were pulled out. The little medrash says. So we just this past Shabbos, we were sitting by the Kiddush, and someone asked, "Oh, whatever happened to Dina?" And so Essen said, "Oh, there's a medrash that Dina had a child, and that was Asnas, and Yosef ended up marrying her." So this man, he says, "Oh, I don't believe in medrash. It's not. I don't believe in medrash. There's such fantastic stories. I don't believe in medrash, but Medrash is a part of the Torah. It's part of the Pardes. It's the, I don't know, like different people think of different things, maybe, but it's time that we get the facts straight, You can't pshat yes and drush no, remez yes. Like who are we to pick and choose? Okay, now we're going to come to Said. Said is Kabbalah, right? And some people say, okay, I'll do pshat, I'll do remez, I'll do drush, but leave me alone. I'm not learning Kabbalah. That's. You go ahead.
You said that the reason that your library is going to happen by Monday, and people are saying the Hasidus, but Said is not only Hasidus, right? I'm sure like there's Litvish people that learn Kabbalah.
I didn't hear the beginning of the question.
It's not just Hasidus.
Which is in the category of Said.
Yeah, not just Hasidus. A lot of Litvish people learn a lot of Kabbalah.
Okay.
They don't learn a lot of very good. Saying that people were scared because like what if I'm not following this? It's open to every sect and class.
Yes, 100%. So that's what we have to impress upon people. Yes,
that's about Hasidus.
The system so is not part of the curriculum. Vilna Gaon was the
right. I'm trying to say it's not particularly only a Hasidic thing.
Hasidus is based on Kabbalah.
Right, there's a lot of Litvish thought, but it's also based on
no, very little, very minimal, very minimal.
But it's definitely not.
It started.
But it's definitely not. It's not like if someone is not.
100%. Halavai. I'm with you. 100%.
You shouldn't learn till you're 40, but Hasidus is for everybody.
Hasidus is it's only one part.
Hasidus is making it accessible,
but it's
relatable.
But it's an original. In the original source is the original, but that is the original source.
The original source, it was still Said. It was still secret. It wasn't accessible to everyone. It wasn't
accessible, but no one has to be that afraid because in every sect of Klal Yisrael.
She's saying it's not specific to
Hasidus is what brings it down to us.
Halavai.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
No, is that like the right explanation?
So today we're going to learn brand new. It's brand new to me. Okay. What is Said? Now you're thinking, okay, deep, dark secret. Like no one knows. That's what a Said is. But once we define what Said is, it's going to clarify everything. Okay. So what is Said? The Said is, I should really give a few more examples to keep to make it more dramatic, but I'll just tell you. Said is what paint did he use? What brush stroke did he use? What's the technique? The Said is what made it happen.
Foundation.
The Said is how did it happen? What made it? What caused it to happen? I'm going to give a few examples. I'm going to give 3 examples. We're going to go through the process of Pshat, Remez, Drush, Said with 3 different examples to explain the difference between them. The Starry Night was just, an intro. Okay. What's Pshat? Pshat. Hashem gave back my neshama. Remez is that when every single night when I go to sleep, I'm really taking a risk because there's no guarantee that I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. Going to sleep is 1/60th of death. So the remez is that just like I could wake up in the morning, Hashem will return my soul. There's going to be a time that there's going to be tchias hamesim, and all the people that had a very, very deep sleep are all going to wake up. So the remez is that there's going to be tchias hamesim. It's going to be on a much greater scale. That's remez. Drush, what's drush? Drush is how it applies to me. The research and also how it applies to me. Drush is if Hashem gave back my soul. Hashem didn't have to give me back my soul. Did I deserve that Hashem's giving back my soul? If I want to be, if I want to be true, I could say no, or I could say, not yet. Am I deserving that Hashem's giving back my soul? Because I wasn't that great. But Hashem, with his kindness, he gave back my soul anyway, even though I didn't deserve it. So now the drush is, how should I treat someone else? Maybe someone else isn't deserving, but I should still treat them. I should still treat them nicely, just like I don't always deserve. And Hashem gives me, so I should treat everyone nicely. So that would be drush for Maidani. And then Said is Maidani Lefenacha Melech. Melech is Malchus. Which means which energy is behind everything to make that my neshama should actually come down into my body the next morning. And there's more, because there's questions where I wrote it down. In my Da'ani, okay, here it is. So Melech is Malchus, which is the lowest level. And then Chai V'Kayam, that represents the energy of Yesod, which is part of Hashem's infinite self. And Malchus is where Hashem hides, and Yesod is where Hashem is revealed. That's two opposites, and how Yesod and Malchus have to work together to put my neshama back inside of me. So the question is, what energies, what spiritual energies are behind this whole thing that makes it happen? If I open up my computer, right, and I type, I see the words. I don't have to know the inner workings of what happens. I don't know what this is saying. Okay. I don't have to know the inner workings of what makes when I press the letter S on my computer that it should actually pop up on my computer. So the inner workings, what's actually making it happen, what's behind the scenes, that side. So the malchus and the yesod and all that. So that's really explaining to you what Kabbalah is, what side is. It's what makes it happen. That's my da'ani. Next example so Rabbi Shishler was teaching this. So he was saying it about the parsha of the week that he was up to, which was when you go out to war on your enemies. So pshat is there's a war, there's soldiers, there's enemies. That's pshat. Remez is that the war is not only with bullets. A war could be an internal war. Soldiers, there could be a tahara, there could be different things that I'm to get out of bed. That kind of war. So that would be the remez. Then what would be the drush? Drush is how it applies to me. When you go out to war, you should go with intention that you're above, that you're for sure going to win. That it's not like it's an equal playing field, but no, you are always going to be victorious over your enemy. That's drush, how it applies to me. The actual layer of research, picking up the carpet to look underneath, and then side is which spiritual energies am I talking about? There's a klipa and sitra achra and the energies that are make what makes an enemy be here. The fact that there's Hamas, where does that come from? Which the spiritual energy that allows the terrorists or whoever they are to function. That's Said. It's a brilliant categorization of what pshat, remez, drush, and Said is. Okay. So I'll just take it. I'm going to take this same thing and I'm going to bring it down. I could bring it down to everything that we learned on Monday. Yutas Kislev is going to be Friday. Till now, Yutas Kislev is a Rosh Hashanah for Hasidus. The kids go to school in Shabbos clothes. They have a Seudah, etc. And that's why we pushed off we made the class early. Tomorrow, Mitzvah, I'm going to go to the Ayal and Gedalim for everyone. Our school, all the families of the Cheder, they all meet by the Ayal once a year. Yotes Kislev, that's when we go as a Cheder to the Ayal. So okay, so what's the pshat? Yotes Kislev. The time we start the new cycle of Tanya. It's a big yantif. It's wonderful, beautiful. Then, if I take it to, and what happened? The Alter was in jail, and then he was free from jail. So Remez, what does that allude to? What does that allude to? The fact that he was in jail, that meant that there was a decree in heaven against Hasidus. And when he was released from jail, that meant that decree was gone, and now Hasidus could be spread all over. That's a Remez. What we see here, what does it allude to? There's got to be. It's not just limited to this box. Look beyond it. Okay, drush is how it applies to me. You come to Yotes Kislev. Okay, now what hachlata am I going to take on myself to increase in my learning of Hasidus, for example? Or if the Alter was free from jail, maybe I could tap into that energy of freeing myself from whatever restraints are blocking me. That could be drush. And now Said, what Said? And we all know it. We all know it because we learned Hasidus. We learned Said. When we learned Pashas the Sichas, that's Said. What did we learn? We compared Yotes Kislev to Matan Torah. We said, what happened? What are the inner workings that made it happen? Matan Torah, before Matan Torah, the Avos also learned Torah. What was the big chiddush of Matan Torah? That before Matan Torah, there was a gzeira, there was a decree. Heaven could not come down to earth, and earth could not be elevated to heaven. If you wrote Torah down on a piece in a book, it wasn't holy. Holiness couldn't stay in this, couldn't be retained, couldn't be in this world. And if you ate an apple, the apple couldn't be elevated, and holiness couldn't come down, and physicality couldn't go up. Comes out in Torah, the decree was annulled, and now heaven could come down to earth, and earth could go up to heaven. And the same thing is with Yotes Kislev. What happened? There was a blockade. There was Hasidus, the well springs of Hasidus, and then there was down here earth, and there was no mixing. There was a blockade. The well springs couldn't come down, and what happened with Yotes Kislev? The same thing happened in Torah. That blockade, that thing that separated the well springs of Hasidus from being able to come to the most furthest corner of the world, that was abolished, and therefore today, today we could be sitting in Lakewood, Ira Kodesh, and we could be learning Tanya. Because that was that blockage was removed. So now we understand how it was able to happen, that we should be sitting here and learning Tanya today. So that's what it means, say, when you understand what's behind it, what orchestrated it, what made this happen, what made this occur. Yeah. Okay. So Said is how it all works. Okay. Well, to go back here, it just says in nicer words, with what was the Said for that? How the energy of the enemies works and exists in the first place. How is it possible there should be an enemy in the first place? And what energy is there that make it exist? When you go back down to the source, then you're able to deal with it in a much better way. When you see what caused us to be in Galus, it was a problem of Avas Yisrael. So let's have Avas Chinam to get rid of this, and that will combat the Sinas Chinam. Go all the way back to the source. See where the energy, where did it come from? Where did it stem from? That's what Said gives us. So we see from this that we don't want to just stick to one part of the orchard. No, the whole thing. It's a pardes. It's an orchard. There's many different types of fruit in the orchard. Yes, but it's for all of us. Okay. And this is, I don't know if I want to say scary. The Arizal says that every one of us will return to this earth multiple times until we get to learn every dimension of Torah. Okay. So to summarize, this was class number 2. How does the neshama maximize its garment called thought? By pushing ourselves to learn pardes to the extent of the human's ability. So some neshamas are more inclined to one part, but push yourself as much as you could as much as your soul power to learn from all parts of the pardes. Even if you're inclined just to one, push yourself to all of them, because because we really need to learn all the parts. Okay. Okay, so now going back to our neshamala. Our neshamala wants to express itself so badly, so we learned one way. We learned that through thought, through learning pardes hatayra, it's able to express itself. This little neshama is so frustrated. All it wants to do is express itself. And the only way it could express itself is with the levushim of thought, speech, and action. And it really wants to, and it's dying to do Torah, to learn Torah and do mitzvahs, and we're distracted. 1 minute, neshama, I'll have to check WhatsApp. I have to make sure that the news, if I don't check the news, maybe the world will, is not going to stand. So the neshama wants one thing, and it's a tough. It's tough. It's tough. So now we spoke a lot about the thought garment, and now we want to move on and to speak about speech and action. Speech and action are the garments, but what are they expressing? What are they expressing? So with the thought, we learned that through learning through pardes hatayra, through pshat, remez, drush, and said, through when a person learns pshat, remez, drush, and said, in that way they are engaging the thought garment, and that's how the soul is expressing itself. Now, so the soul is using its seichel, its power of intellect. The soul uses its power of intellect to learn pardes hatayra with its garment of thought. Now, what else does the neshama have besides the 3 intellectual powers? What else does it have? 7 peers, 7 midos. And those midos also want to find expression. The midos want to find expression. The only way the midos could express itself is through speech and action. Speech is Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. When we use our mouth to say words of Torah, that is how we're using the garment of speech. And then action, that's a huge garment, action. And the garment of action is how the neshama is going to express its feelings, which are primarily, could be broken into 2 categories of love and fear. Anochi Hashem Alekacha, Asher Tzichem Eretz Mitzrayim, Hashem took us out of Egypt, Hashem loved us, we want to love him back. And Lo Yelecha Elokim Achirim, don't have other gods. And that is represented by fear. Fear of Hashem, which is very, very misunderstood. And when the neshama loves and fears, and we're going to explain what love and fear means, then that is going to propel action, and the action is going to be emes. It's going to be true and sustainable. Okay, let's talk about what that means. So we have a problem that, what does the world say? What does love mean? What is love? What is love? Love is a personal reaction that I have to something that I would like to have more of. A personal reaction that I have to something that I would like to have more of. For example, chocolate. I love chocolate. When I eat chocolate, it makes me feel good. Okay, not too much chocolate. And I want more of chocolate, so I love chocolate. Now, more mature love is not something. I love something that I want more of. If I want more of it, then I love it. Not something, but someone. I love you because when I'm in your presence, then I feel good, and I want more of that feel good. So therefore, I love you. So how the person serves me, how the chocolate serves me, and that's a very, very primitive kind of love. What do I love about you? What you do for me. And the society says that if the person that you're married to or the person that you have this relationship with is not providing you anymore with what you wanted, then get out. And the question is, what have you done for me today? And if you haven't done anything for me today, then there goes my love. But when the neshama loves for real. It's enriching, it's meaningful, it's altruistic, it's transcendent. Real love is, if I told you, last night at 2 a.m., someone woke me up and they were very hungry and I fed them. And then after they ate too much and they threw up and they had to change their linen and then I had to change their clothing and then after that they wanted more things. So you say to me, "Oh, you're superhuman," and you didn't complain. You're superhuman. You got up for this person. You gave them food. You changed them. You took care of them. You're superhuman. But then all of a sudden I say, "Oh, it was my 3-month-old baby." Oh, no, you're just a parent, right? Because when I love my baby, then all the hard work is irrelevant. It doesn't matter that it was inconvenient for me and that I was tired. All that gets overlooked because I truly love my baby. And then it's not dependent on what the baby does for me. Sure. It's not about what the baby does for me. It's about what I can do for you. Now that's love. Love is what I could do for you. And the neshama, when the neshama loves, it's dedicated, totally dedicated to Hashem. Okay.
Isn't that like conditional love and unconditional love? That's really the two things that you just described.
Right. So if it's conditional, then it's a very primitive kind of love and it's not real. And it's relying on something. Yeah. An unconditional love, that's true love. And it's what I could do for you. And it's, I'm going to do for you. Doesn't matter what you're going to do for me. If okay, there's a million, it says, if you have a happy wife, then you're going to have a happy life. So the husband says, I don't really care about my wife. I'm just want her to be happy because if she's happy, then I'll be happy. So there's selfish. So love, we have to understand what real love is. Real love versus just doing an action without the feeling being there. We want to have a meaningful relationship with Hashem. Imagine you have a couple, they're about to get married, they go for lessons for, to whatever, to learn how to be the best husband and wife. And they tell the husband, they tell the man, and say, every week you should buy flowers for your wife. So what does he do? He takes his phone, goes to reminders, and he puts in his phone or maybe he calls the florist and he says every single week, 2:00 on Friday, deliver a dozen red roses to my wife. The action is done. And then 6 months later, they get married and they're at therapy, they're counseling, and she says, he doesn't love me. What do you mean? Every single Friday, 2:00 sharp, there's a dozen roses at your door. But it's completely empty. It's completely empty. It was a reminder on his phone. This is what I have to do. this is what I have to do. This is what they said. This is what I have to do. But there's no cure. If you really love me, it doesn't always have to be red roses. It could be pink roses. It could be chocolate. It could be something else. So what happens is that we're not looking for a relationship of a robot. We have this thing being frum. What does frum mean? Frum means there's a checklist, and I have to do everything on the checklist. That is like having and then what happens if the phone gets lost? Or if you switch phones, then there's no flowers. It is a system. There's a system. This is what I have to do. At 6 a.m., I have to be in shul. Versus a love. What time is shul? I want to be there to daven to Hashem. It's two different. If I just on one hand, okay, this is what we do with Tanya. We play it all the way this way, and then we go all the way that way, and then we get to somewhere in the middle. So today, the approach we're taking is we're going all the way in one direction, and we're saying that if there's no love, the love and the fear is what propels the mitzvah and makes it meaningful and special and real, and it makes it sustainable. If I'm just doing something like a robot, or why am I doing a mitzvah? Why am I doing a mitzvah? There are different options. One option is it makes me feel good. Who doesn't want to be part of a charity organization? Stuck organization, Bikor Chaylim, Shifra Pua. Feels very good to be part of to be part of a chesed organization. It feels very, very good. Why do I keep Shabbos? It's so beautiful. A whole week, I have to work so hard, and everyone's buying so many things from me, and I feel so pressured. One day a week, no one's bothering me. I can spend time with my family. So really, it's all self-serving. It's all about me. I feel good when I give tzedakah. I feel good when I keep Shabbos. I love the beautiful Shabbos table. Everyone sitting by a table makes me feel so good. But if that is not that love is not emes, is not real. Because what happens if you happen for some reason you have to move to a different city and you live 5 miles away from the shul. So if Shabbos is a day of rest and a day for me to enjoy myself, right now I have to start. Now it's boiling hot, it's 90 degrees, or it's freezing cold, or it's raining, and I have to walk the 5 miles to shul and back for Ma'ariv, for Shachris, for Mincha. Now it's a day of schwitzing. It's not a day of, it's not enjoyable anymore. So therefore, there's 4 Shabbosim in a month. One Shabbos, I'm not going to go to shul. I need to take a rest. 3 out of 4. So you see, I'm already playing with. It's already losing. It's already losing the integrity of the mitzvah because it's based on how I feel. And we tell we tell ourselves a story. We tell ourselves the most important thing is just be a mensch. What does it mean be a mensch? Be a mensch means that you are nice to me. It doesn't matter if you scream at your kids or you scream at your wife. You're nice to me. You're a mensch. So I'm judging everything according. I don't think that Hashem really cares if I wait only 5 hours and 59 minutes or 6 hours till I have my coffee. So it's all me. It's all me. So one way, okay, I'm doing a mitzvah, but it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. But it's not but we should stop guessing, and we should see look in the Torah. What I think Hashem wants, doesn't want. Look in the Torah what Hashem wants. And Hashem is very, very precise. Imagine a guy. The wife gives her husband a shopping list and says, please go to the store and buy for me laundry detergent and baby squash. And I'm forgetting the last example. Hopefully it will come. Okay. So he goes to the store and baking soda. The husband goes to the store. He doesn't know it's baking soda. He goes to the soda aisle. He picks up a bottle of soda. It's a gzeira shav. It's a great gzeira shav. You see soda, soda here and soda here. Okay, so he brings the soda. Then she has laundry detergents. He goes to the aisle of the detergent and he buys an all-purpose cleaner. For sure, all-purpose cleaner could probably also include detergent. And then baby squash, he thinks, okay, he finds Israeli pickles and he thinks probably the Israeli cucumbers, whatever it is. And he says, oh, it's similar enough. It's probably this is what it is, and he buys it. he comes home and the wife is not very happy. He's like, it was an intention, I had very good intentions. But she says, listen, you want to have a soup out of Israeli cucumbers? Right? It's not going to work. So Hashem, so this is really proving the other way around, that the main thing is the action. But the point is that the mitzvahs, Hashem tells us very, very clearly what he wants us to do. And we decide and we say, I think, I feel, I know, I hope, this is what I think, this is my opinion. It's not about me and my opinion. If I'm doing mitzvahs because of me and my opinion, then it's not going to be emes. It's not going to be able to last forever, and it's going to lose its quality, because all of a sudden when it's not so beautiful, and when it's not so comfortable, and when it's not so easy, then what's going to happen to the mitzvah? Okay. Another reason why I could do mitzvahs is because right now it's hard, but it's an investment. I'm gonna struggle now. I'm gonna walk to shul now, whatever, even though it's hard for me, because I'm gonna get olam haba. Again, what am I doing? I'm serving myself. It's about, I love myself and I want a good olam haba, and therefore I'm gonna sacrifice now, so for later, for good later. So again, who am I serving? It's all about me. So if I want that the love should be emes, should be true, then it has to be not about me and not conditional. It has to be about what Hashem says. And so when a person has a real love for Hashem, and it's not about, and they were able to put themselves aside and have a real love for Hashem, then this is going to propel. And from this love comes and flows all the positive mitzvahs. And from the fear flows all the ability to hold ourselves back from the 365 mitzvahs leisaseh. Okay. There's a lot more examples that we could.
Don't slow down.
Okay, just a couple more examples.
I just have to leave.
Okay.
I have to go
Okay,
teach, so.
Yeah, but this you got it. This is okay. I'm just gonna go back to my notes and see if there's a couple more examples, just to bring it home. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Imagine we all remember when we learned to drive, right? Every teenager wants to drive. Why do they want to drive? Freedom, right? They love this feeling of freedom so much, and every teenager is dying to drive. That they're by themselves, without their mother sitting next to them telling them that they should to slow down, right? So the teenager wants the freedom. They want the freedom. Oh, by the way, my daughter just passed her driving test today. Yeah, big mazel tov. So anyway, so they're not thinking about, the money, that the insurance and the upkeep of the car and the gas and all other things that it takes to take, to take care of a car, the oil change and the car wash and everything else. You're not thinking about that, because you love driving so much, you love the freedom so much, that everything else is not going to bother you. And the same thing is when it comes to Hashem, when we have this real, true, deep love for Hashem, then we could do anything. Just like we could wake up in the middle of the night for a baby, because we truly, truly love. It's not about what I'm gonna. It's not about what I'm getting. I'm so happy to have that freedom, or I'm so happy to have this child. Okay. So basically, what's from? From, I don't know if someone's from. From is someone who does a little bit more than I do. We measure. So I'm measuring according to me. From, it's about what Hashem. It's about what Hashem says. It's not about I'm deciding according to what I do and what I don't do, if you're more from or less from than me. It's not about me. It's about Hashem. So we make the same mistake in school. We send kids to school and we want them to get an A, right? They should come home with the A. But what about a love and appreciation for learning? That, the A is to check, the checkbox. You're from, I washed Nekvasa today. I gave my tzedakah today. But where's the love? Where's the love for the learning? To come home with 100 on a test is one thing, but the real point is if I've seen this with one of my kids. She worked so hard in school, and she worked so hard to get good grades. But the second she was out of school, all of a sudden, like the balloon popped, and there was zero love for learning. It had to be redeveloped. It was just about getting good grades, and there was no excitement. And the second it wasn't being forced down her throat, she was like, okay, what do I need this for? So and to really have an appreciation and a love for learning, not just because someone's forcing me to get a good grade because of my image. So we don't want a robot adherence. We don't want to serve Hashem like a robot. We want to serve Hashem because we love him. It's where I want to be. It's what I want to do. How much of me is in what I'm doing? It's not just tracking my behavior. Oh, I went to the gym, give me a prize because I went to the gym, versus I love life and I want to be healthy. Then I don't need a prize. A person who loves life doesn't need an incentive to go to the gym. And a person who loves Hashem doesn't need a prize to serve him.
And the service of Hashem is only out of love. It's not even for future reward. It's just about.
Because if it's for future reward, then it's not true. It's not 100% MS.
Immature way of
It's still
observing
self-serving.
Hashem.
It's still self-serving. It's still selfish. It's still selfish. We have to come to a point. We have to come to a point where we're serving Hashem and we're not serving ourselves. I'll give you an example. It's a very hard example for me. Every single week for the past 4.5 years, maybe we missed 1 or 2 times. My kids, mainly one of my children, but it has been more now. It's mostly one daughter who helps me incredible way. We make these videos for kids for Shabbos. So my daughter, who helps me, so because she's in charge of a big program, and usually on Tuesday I send her the poem. She does 5 hours work on Wednesday, 5-hour work on Thursday, and then I edit it. So she calls me last night, very late. She says, Mommy, I'm so sorry. There's no way I could do it. I have this big Yotes Kislev program. They have to, each grade in each class, they have to decorate, they have to make their classroom into a museum, basically, what they have to do. And they have to portray, she's portraying Parakav Tanya and turning her classroom to portray that. And she's in charge. She says, I don't have time to do the Vian. Maybe this one could do it, maybe that one. Then I'm thinking to myself, maybe I can ask real kids to do it, which is what I sometimes do. And so I woke up this morning, I said to my husband, I said, she can't help me. Maybe I'll do a video with real kids. And I don't know what to do. And also my husband is leaving to Florida, I guess early Friday morning, which means that my kids are not going to go to school on Friday. And Shabbos comes in so early. And there's nothing more that I would want to do than to make the video. I feel like it's incredible. It's so beautiful. It's forever. It's amazing. So many people can learn from it. And that's what I want to do. I really, really want to do it. But that's selfish. It's selfish. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it next week, but to be able to put myself aside and say, listen, Shabbos is coming at 4:00. My husband's not here. My kids are home. And it's not about if I do the video, and it's very, very hard for me not to, making the video, it makes me feel good. But is that what Hashem wants? You could argue, I always argue the other way, but I'm saying to come to a point, it's a very mature place to come to a point and say, look, every other week, my daughter helps me, my husband's home, whatever, and also I'm going to the Isle tomorrow, which is a full day trip, so I don't have the luxury of sitting on the computer for 6 hours, so, and in life, sometimes something could be good. It could be very, very good. but is that what Hashem wants? Or is it something that makes me feel good? Versus that all the food should be ready, cooked for Shabbos, and it's not just that the food should be cooked for Shabbos. It's that when my three teenagers walk in the door, and it's going to be like 3 p.m. on Friday, how is the kitchen going to look? Is everything going to be flying? Or is everything going to be in order and the cooking will be done already? It's a huge difference. It's such a, okay, and there won't be a video, but there'll be peace in the house and there'll be a Shabbos environment versus flying into Shabbos last second and everyone being upset. And the aftermath of that, I did Baby Chino. I did a kids program for 5 years. It was so, and it was getting harder and harder to keep up, and the bar was getting higher and higher. It was very, very hard for me. And one day, my daughter said to me, "Why is it that the only way I could spend quality time with you is if I help you set up for Baby Chino?" And I stopped cold turkey. And this week, very, very hard for me to say this, but this week was my parents came for this past week. My parents came for Shabbos, and they were leaving, and my husband was leaving. He went to Montreal for a bar mitzvah, and maybe I was a little bit dreading the long Sunday, and there was PTA for high school, so. One daughter is a teacher, and then I have two other daughters in high school. One was going to stay, and one was going with my parents. She committed to run a bas mitzvah or something like that, which ended up being canceled by the end. And she's blah, 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 bye, and out the door. And she's the one she's always the one that the second Shabbos is over, when there's a choice to stay or to go. For whatever reason, she's always going. And she's by the door. Have a great week. And I turn around and I see my other daughters and and my husband also out the door. The house is a wreck and the other kids everything's flying. And I said to this daughter, I said to her, I didn't mean to hurt her. I said, I just want you to appreciate that you could just walk out and just go do whatever, go to do the bas mitzvah, the dance party, whatever it was, which she could earn money, whatever it is. And I was like, I just wanted to appreciate that you could just walk out and just, do whatever you want to do. And you don't feel the response. I didn't say this part, but I just wanted to appreciate that you could just walk out of here. It's Matzah Shabbos, everything's flying, and you could just leave. And while your sisters are staying home and they're gonna be stuck helping. So I said that to her. And she says, "So, Ma, do you want me to stay?" I said, "No, I don't want you to stay. I just want you to know that you should appreciate that you could just leave." And she left. And then my husband comes in and he says, "Chani, I just want you to know that she's crying." And okay, I sent her a bunch of "I'm sorry" texts and "I love you" and whatever it is. And only last night did she reach out to me, "Ma, I love you, good night." And I tried multiple times and didn't hear from her. It was Tuesday, Matzah Shabbos, Sunday, Monday, and she spoke to her sisters. And maybe that's a sign for me. If I'm, I'm completely, know the bushim here, but I'm saying if you could be honest to yourself, and when my daughter left, my other daughter said, "Ma, you're going to lose her." So what I'm saying is that sometimes, yes, the video is so, so important and it's so beautiful and everything like that. And it really, truly makes me feel great. But it makes me feel great. Imagine the other way around. Imagine if I didn't spend, and after my daughter spends 10 hours, I spend another 5 hours. And if I was doing it with real kids, I'd spend 10 hours making this video. Imagine if I use those 10 hours. Oh, and P.S. Last Shabbos, I did not make challah. I was going to buy sourdough. It was either the challah or the video. It wasn't going to be both. And I sent the label to babysitter. The entire time I was by a babysitter, all I was doing was finishing the video. And that was because I don't know why. But the point is the point is that the video makes me feel good. But if my kids come home, especially after last week, and everything is clean, I do have a clean lady a full day for a Friday, so that's not an excuse. But I'm saying if things are clean and everything is cooked for Shabbos, and my husband's not home, which is even a more of it, which now I have to even hold it even more together. And my son is coming home to take over for my husband, and he hardly ever comes. So should he come into a house that's flying, or should everything be cooked and prepared and ready for Shabbos, and there won't be a video? So I'm saying sometimes something is very, very good, but I love myself versus I love Hashem. So I could read, more examples here, but I'm just,
Sometimes it's
A
hard
lot
to
of
know.
them.
Am I being selfish? Am I saying, it's so hard to really always know when you're doing the right thing.
yeah, I fight myself with this particular issue. Every single week I fight with myself with this issue because it's something so good. When it's, should I be on my phone or cook for Shabbos? Okay,
Right.
it's much easier. But when it's a good thing, and you have to ask yourself, am I serving Hashem or am I serving
And since we're in a
myself?
it's hard to make that, it's
Yeah,
hard to answer that sometimes.
it is hard to answer it sometimes. It
And
is.
also, if you're aligning yourself with Hashem, then you want it because sometimes it's not even what you think. Don't say, I want it because I think that's what Hashem wants. But
It goes back to Avram Avini and Akaitis Yitzchak, all the way back there, should I do the Kaida or I'm gonna make a Chil Hashem, like it's.
It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to him
Right.
logically. If
Right.
he was for 1 minute having himself in mind, then everything he worked for his entire life is going to be down the drain.
Right.
Versus what does Hashem want? So that's basically. And sometimes it's hard to answer what does Hashem
Very
want.
saying, when you have two things to choose from that are both godly.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, our children definitely, yes, it's scary.
We could delegate a lot of things.
Yes,
Oh, so I said to
not
us, I was like, this is the discussion that I had, and I said to my husband, I was like, I really want to do the Beyond. You always said to him, you always say delegate, only do what only you could do. Let someone else, so we'll buy the kugel or whatever.
Right.
So he says, yes, but you can't delegate parenting. You can't, you're not delegating, right? So whatever, you have to, sometimes you have to whatever, you wake up. Sometimes you have to wake up and it could be something good, but the question is it what Hashem wants or is it what I want? And you know what? I heard this by a Knesset Shluchos years ago. We're all juggling. We're all juggling all the time, but there are different kinds of balls. There are some balls that are bouncy balls, and you can let go, and they'll bounce back up when you're ready to take them. And then there are glass balls, and the glass balls you can't afford to drop. Some things you just can't afford to drop. So Baruch Hashem, I actually wrote 2 poems because it was 2 teachings. I ended up writing 2 poems. I'm saying the poem, that was the teaching. I could always go back at another time and put and have it animated. Maybe in 10 years from now, but the main thing is to be able to write down, to write it down. That's the most important thing. And then the pictures will come when it will come. But the glass bowls we can't drop, and that is loving Hashem and fearing Hashem. We'll speak more about the fear part next time, Mirza Hashem. How to truly define fear. But that when the love and fear is proper, and it's loving Hashem and fearing Hashem not because I'm afraid of a punishment. See, and again, it's self-love. But really, I'll give it to you right now that in a nutshell, the fear is I'm not afraid of what Hashem is going to do to me if I don't X, Y, and Z. I'm afraid of losing the connection. I'm afraid of losing the relationship. And we discussed this last time. The love and fear come together. That in the secular marriage, what do we say? You say, okay, you fall in love and get married, and before you get married, you sign whatever documents, right? That if it doesn't go well, I could always pull out. So what did you just do? You took the fear element out. Now I'm not afraid because I could always pull out if it doesn't go well. And that's why the marriages, the prenup, whatever it's called, and they don't last because there's no fear element in the marriage. Fear element means that I'm afraid. I love this person so much. I'm afraid of the repercussions of what's gonna. I don't want to damage this relationship. I don't want to hurt this relationship. I don't want to lose the child. You know, so that kind of fear, it's not I'm going to speak nicer to my daughter so that she should help me. I have to speak nicer to my daughter. Why am I speaking nicer? Because the fear is actually more powerful than the love. Because if I don't, then I could lose her. That keeps the relationship much stronger than just the lovey-dovey love. The point is that we need true love and we need true fear. And true fear is not I'm afraid of. It's not I'm afraid of something. I'm not afraid of a punishment, but I'm not afraid of what Hashem is going to do to me. I'm afraid of what I could do to destroy the relationship. Okay.
I will say that when it comes to children, what they need most from you is that you should enjoy them, literally enjoy them. That's what they want. And I think that's what Hashem has as well.
Yes, 100%. That we should enjoy doing the mitzvah. It's not that we're doing it because we're a robot, because we have to, but because we really enjoy it. Yeah, and I think the kids have to feel that. Not that the reason why I'm here is because you need me to help you. But you love me whether I help you or not.
That my relationship with my son, when I stop doing things, because if I do for him, he'll become a better Jew. And I just started completely enjoying him. That's when we bloomed. We started going for a minimum every morning. Wow. It all started when I stopped predicating my relationship on what's going to be and just enjoying the moments with them.
Wow.
That's what our children need. That's what Hashem needs. Just enjoy them. Relax. Just enjoy them. They're precious. They all have so much to offer.
That's real love. That's real love. That it's not dependent on anything. If you help me, then I'll love you. If you did that, you know.
Or you make me feel good, like I'm, like meaning, it's like something not like, let's say not physical health, but let's say I feel it makes my ego, you know?
Like a Kiriv thing. Another notch on my belt.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do it like that. Just enjoy being with that Jew. He's a Jew.